Greetings BookTube, I'm Anders and this is my February wrap-up. I finished a total of 9 books this month, but I talked about Fool's Fate in my January wrap-up, so I won't be talking about that one here. Let's get started. First, I finished The House of Hades by Rick Riordan. This is book 4 in the Heroes of Olympus series. I can't say too much about the plot since that will probably spoil the first 3 books. I can't say too much about the plot since that will probably spoil the first 3 books in the series and possibly spoil the Percy Jackson and Olympians series. I can say that I really enjoyed this series and I gave this book 4 stars. My favorite in the series so far is Mark of Athena, and I hope I will get a chance to read The Blood of Olympus soon. After that I read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. I really loved this book and the philosophical questions it raised. I gave it 5 stars. It's set in a post-apocalyptic America where most people have left Earth and live in colonies on Mars. The people left behind all own animals, and the ones who can't afford live animals own electric animals that look exactly like real animals. The book follows 2 characters. The main character is Rick Deckard. He lives in San Francisco. He's a bounty hunter and he hunts and retires androids. He owns an electric sheep and he dreams about owning a real animal. The secondary character is John Isidore. He's what they in this book call a chickenhead, which means he has a low IQ. He lives alone in an apartment building, which means he's the only person living in that building. And then one day he hears someone else move around and he tries to befriend that person. If you have seen the movie Blade Runner, you're somewhat familiar with this book because that movie is based on this book. There are quite a few differences. For example, the Nexus 6 androids in this book are called replicants in the movie. And then I read Demigods and Magicians by Rick Riordan. It's the crossover story between Percy Jackson and the Kane Chronicles. It's a 3-part story that consists of short stories at the end of The Serpent's Shadow, The Mark of Athena and The House of Hades. But I'm pretty sure it will be released as its own book soon. The first short story is where Percy meets Carter Kane. The second short story is where Annabeth meets Sadie Kane. And the third short story is where all 4 meet up and kick some ass. I gave it 4 stars. Then I read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is book 1 in the Kingkiller Chronicle. I love this book and I gave it 5 stars. The narration just pulls you in, and if I didn't have to sleep or eat, I probably would have read it through in one sitting. This series is about the magically and otherwise gifted character Quoth. He sits down with a character called the Chronicler and tells the story of his life. He's going to tell it in 3 days, and this book covers what he tells in the first day. We get to follow his life from the early days when his family was in a troupe of traveling actors, musicians, up until he's starting to learn the secrets of magic. And then I read The Sign of the Four, one of the Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The mysterious disappearance of Miss Mary Morstan's father 10 years earlier and an annual gift to her from an unknown person starts the investigation that leads to an unexpected conclusion. It's not my favorite Sherlock Holmes story, but I still gave it 3 stars. It's very short too, like 77 pages or something like that. And finally I read... Okay, the camera shut down, so let's go back and reshoot some of the things. And then I read The Darkest Minds, Never Fade, In the Afterlight by Alexandra Bracken. It's the whole Darkest Minds trilogy. It's set in the United States and there's been a virus outbreak, and when the kids reach puberty most of them die and the few that survive get psionic mutations. The kids who survive are kept in rehabilitation camps, not that they're being rehabilitated at all. There are 5 categories of mutations, color-coded by how dangerous they are. Greens have extremely high intelligence and photographic memories. Blues have telekinetic powers. Yellows can create and control electricity. Oranges can enter people's minds, both to read and to influence. Reds can create and control fire. The main character Ruby is orange, but she's posing as green in the camp. A terrorist organization breaks her out of the camp and wants to use her as a weapon. And then she escapes from the terrorists and teams up with a small group of runaway kids. I gave this series as a whole 3.5 stars. The main reason why I didn't give it 4 stars was because the pacing was a bit weird, especially in the last book. It felt like things happened really slowly for most of the book, and then all of a sudden everything happened at once, and then the book ends. I guess that's about it. So until next time.